Mickey 17. Finally, we are here to talk about this one. This has been my most anticipated movie of the year, or one of my most anticipated movies of the year for a while. This is a movie that, of course, I was very excited about because Robert Pattinson's a great actor. You have Bong Joon Ho directing it, who has made lots of great American films and Korean films. Of course, he's most famous now for winning Best Picture for Parasite. And I will say, if you're one of my viewers who has never seen a Bong Joon Ho film other than Parasite, please do yourself a favor and fix that. I need to fix that myself. I've seen a few of his other movies, but not really enough to really fix that enough. But still, he's a great director, and I want to see more from him either way. So this is enough to get me excited right there. I thought the trailers also looked fun. I had my reservations though because this movie is very cartoony from the trailers. I kind of got that tone, and that could work or it could not. I think that this is also a movie that had been delayed a bunch of times from Warner Brothers, and I kind of that could mean good things or could mean bad things. Like maybe they moved it around so much because they were trying to that they were really confident in this movie, wanted to give it the right release date. Sometimes that happens, or it could mean that the movie sucks and they're not proud of it. So it was like 50-50 with this movie, and I will say this is not the movie that I expected, but it's really good. Let me start with the positives before I get into the negatives. This movie is beautifully shot. It's got great cinematography. This is a movie that is mostly set on a spaceship, but you're never really bored with what you're looking at. The environments can feel claustrophobic and kind of like you're trapped on this spaceship, but that's intentional. That's what the characters are feeling. That's what you're supposed to be feeling in this movie. And the CGI with these bug creatures was really good, and a lot of the futuristic technology was really cool looking and stuff. I think this movie was not as cartoony as I expected it to be, but a lot of the humor and vibe to this movie really did work. A lot of it. All the acting is great, of course, from Robert Pattinson, who's having to play multiple versions of himself in really unique, different ways and convey a lot of emotions of what he's dealing with. Uh, the idea of seeing yourself die multiple times and remembering it, or also losing other people throughout the movie, things like that. Mark Ruffalo is great at playing this like pompous dictator that I'm sure people are going to compare to Trump, but Bong Joon-ho said that really wasn't his intention. But there are some parallels, but he's clearly not supposed to be one to one. But he is a lot of fun, has a lot of great humor in the movie. Um, you got so many other people in this movie that are just great characters, and this movie is really good with that stuff. And it's kind of message of appreciating life and learning to uh, be with the the people who love and support us throughout all of our lives is beautiful. Um, and I will say the last act is a really strong last act that leaves you with a good feeling leaving the theater. Now we'll get into the negatives. The first act of this movie is really slow. I wish we had spent more time on Earth and kind of understanding where Robert Pattinson's character was coming from. Because most of this movie set on a spaceship. And don't get me wrong, that stuff worked. But it did feel like I wanted to understand where this character was going from. We have brief moments of his past, and I felt like if we grow to understand why he really signed up for this Expendables life, and maybe seen some of that, it would have made for a stronger movie. This is also a movie that has such an interesting world that it almost feels like it shouldn't have been a movie. It should have been like a mini series or a series exploring this world and these ideas. And at a certain point towards the end, it turns into like a Starship Troopers movie, and it kind of changes its head. And I just felt like Some of that worked, some of it didn't. It was kind of messy and clunky. And by the end of the movie, I really liked the movie overall. And it's a movie that once I see it more times, I think I will appreciate it more. Some of the jokes will land a little bit better. Kind of what the movie was going for will land a little bit better. On first watch, though, I'm a little puzzled and confused by certain events and things in the movie. But overall, I thought this was a really strong movie that is a unique sci-fi genre blender. It's comedic. It's got sci-fi stuff in it. It's a drama. It's got all these different things going on to it to really make something unique and interesting. And I really appreciate that a studio like Warner Brothers, who is like many of these studios, so adverse to taking risk with their movies. But they said, hey, look, you won Best Picture. Let's take a fucking chance, give you the money. And I think they got scared. Honestly, that's why this movie probably got delayed. Because this movie is so unique and different and interesting. And I think there'll be people in the audience that will leave the movie puzzled, confused, not liking this movie. But there will also be an audience that loves this movie. And so this is a movie that I think probably may not do great this weekend because of that, but will become an instant cult classic with an audience that loves and adores it because this is such an interesting movie. And it is one of those movies that you would see in the 80s in a way where, like Big Trouble in Little China, where that's not a perfect movie. It doesn't fully work all the time, but for the people who love it, they love it. And me included. And so I think this is going to be one of those for a lot of people. And I do really love Bigger Trouble in Little Chinatown. Now I really want to rewatch that again. But I don't know. Great movie for just being something fresh and different while acknowledging not all of it works.